Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Adobe Live from Adobe MAX.
Adobe MAX.
Look at all these people. There's like thousands of people all over the place.
Just like milling around here. We're kind of raised up on a platform.
We are. It's very different from what we're used to.
It is.
Usually we're just in a room.
Did you not
by ourselves?
Last year was your first Max. You didn't stream last year at
Max.
Max.
As an employee, I did not stream.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
So you were brand new to the whole deal.
New.
So Howard's first time streaming at Max.
Indeed. It's an experience.
It's nice.
There's people staring at us.
Right? I know. There are. They're like wandering by.
But how's it going,
What's
everyone?
up, everybody?
We've got Dushy and Lisa and Richard, Zaria,
Ananda. Look at all these. Tim, what's up?
Andy, Juan, a lot of familiar faces.
Of course, I'm happy to be back because I have not been streaming for a while.
We have never streamed together.
We have never streamed together?
This is
it. First time? This is great. See, here I am. I feel like I'm just like coming home in a lot of ways. I've really been missing streaming. Of course, who better to do it with than Howard, Mr. Howard Pinsky here.
Thank you.
I'm super excited to be here. And then, of course, chatting with all of our good friends here on Behance.
Yeah, Jack is in the house. She was a guest on Adobe Live not too long
What's
ago.
up, Jack?
So,
Christina?
A little bit of an exciting day.
I think it was a pretty bit of a good morning.
I think it was good. It was good.
You know, I get a little deep in work, and I lose track of kind of where all these features are at.
Right.
You know,
we've been using them for months.
Yeah. And today, like to finally see them finally out there, like in the world.
Yeah.
And then see them on stage at that scale is just a really good feeling.
Yeah. And the tweets and the comments and the chat messages have been so supportive. I mean, hover, right?
Hover.
That's all we had to say.
Hover.
It's just hover.
That's it. We had to do it like the way we knew it had to be done. We couldn't just hack it.
Yeah.
Stick it in there. We knew we had to do hover the way that users would find it most valuable in their workflow, most helpful as they're building out these very complex designs and systems. So yes, it took us a while, but we got hover. We got it.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about what took so long in a little bit. But should we just show them some stuff?
Let's do it.
All right. So let's hop over to my screen here.
Let's do it.
And we're just going to dive into states.
Little tour of all the new features.
Oh, look, we're at the bottom. It's weird with no green screen. We got a box.
We just have to orient ourselves.
It can be like a mime
to what we're doing here. I know. It's it's definitely different.
All right, so we're gonna start with states.
Okay,
that's
states.
probably my favorite
it's
feature out of this update.
Kind of mind blowing.
There's a lot of cool updates.
I can really. Oh yeah, this. So yeah, just show it off.
Okay, let's show it off. So
it.
we've got a button, right? We all have buttons in our design systems. We have buttons in our projects.
It's the core UI element of any experience.
It is, yeah. And by the way, if anyone has questions, Richard's excited about hover. If anyone's questions about the new update, XD in general, throw them in the chat on Behance, behance.net/live/Adobe Live, and one of us will answer it.
Yeah. You know, we were also good at really obscure XD trivia too.
Yeah.
So then lay it on us. Or if you want to talk about Overwatch 2.
Ooh.
No, we'll say that for later.
Okay. Yeah, so we have a button, right? And we've had symbols in the past, and we upgraded symbols to components in May.
Components, amazing.
Amazing. They brought resizability. You can override and create instances and things like that.
Yeah.
But each of those iterations it had some limitations, right?
Yeah,
and that's not a bad thing. It allowed us to really explore how to fix those limitations.
Yeah, and it was really powerful. I mean, because again, you can really push a component now to be almost completely different than the core master component.
Absolutely.
And still, if there's one thing that was the same, it would stay linked.
Yes.
Super powerful.
Yeah.
Super powerful.
So we've got a button here, and we might want to turn this into a component. You're going to use it in your design system, you're going to use it throughout your project, whatever it might be. So I'm going to right-click, and I can choose Make Component.
Make it.
Or we now have a lovely new section in the Properties Inspector
right there.
to create components as well. And you're going to notice that a default state has been created.
Right from the get-go.
Yeah, and this is kind of like your master component that you've been used to for all this time. Yeah. Look at this. By the way, I did that.
Oh, you did that. See,
I did that.
Oh
wait, you can't see it.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Howard, everyone, I know you all are too, but I'm a huge fan of Howard, and the fact that he got to contribute and add, some of that Howard flavor, to XD officially, has been something we've been trying to do for a while. So I'm glad we got that in there.
Me too.
It's good.
So we've got our master component now, and again, just like previous versions, the little diamond indicates that this is the master, right?
This is the one.
But now with states, we can actually start building out different versions of this button to use throughout. But
yeah, it's all going to be it's all going to be part of that component.
Yeah.
Everywhere that button goes now,
Yeah.
it's going to have not just all the style and the object inside of it, but now also the states.
Totally. Now, previously, what you would have done is, you duplicate this over and then made some edits, and then you would have another instance and many other instances. But the problem was you couldn't really keep those instances, those overridden instances, up to date.
Yeah.
So here's
they would be these like separate things, and you would have to track them yourself, and you would have to swap them out manually. And there was some overhead to it.
Yeah. So here's how it works now. So over here, just like I showed you a moment ago, we have our default state, and we can press the plus button to create a new state. We'll get to hover in a moment, but we have a new state. I'm going to name this outlined. And if anyone follows me on Twitter or Let's XD, you've probably seen this already. But now what I'm able to do with the outline state active, I can go crazy and basically override it just like we could previously. So I'll turn off the fill, I'll set the border to white, and I'll increase the size a little bit, right? So now that we have an overridden instance, or a state, we can swap back and forth between them, right?
See, that's amazing, because like that again, like you would have to have, those would be two, either the master and the overridden component sort of sitting next to it, or two separate components that you are then reusing across your design, right? Now it's one component.
Yes.
Amazing.
But what's really cool is kind of what we talked about earlier, is being able to update the states, or I guess previously the instances. What I'm able to do now is in my master component, I can switch over to outline and I can just make changes, right? So this might be play now. Maybe I don't want this icon on this state. Move it into the center. And then we can still go through and make overrides. So I can just pull this inwards and I can swap back to the default state, and I've got my beautiful buttons, right? But here's where things get really powerful. So in addition to updating instances, children's states, what are they called? Children?
We call them instances. At least I think everybody references it a little differently. Master and child, that's not a great connotation.
Yeah.
So master and instance.
Someone's asking about dark mode.
Oh,
we'll get to that. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Howard anticipated that would come
I did. So, again, not only can you update the children's states, whatever you want to call them, but you can also update the master component, which is going to push styling changes to non-overridden properties.
Yes.
So if I wanted to
even
adjust,
if it's like one thing stays the same, it will stay.
Look at that.
That's
Look at
so
that.
Cool. That's so
and I can,
cool.
again, hop into my outline state. If I wanted these buttons, for whatever reason, to not be rounded, you can do that. So there's a lot of really powerful things you can do with states. You can have a lot of different states in here. But of course, hover.
I mean, that's the thing, is like states, when we went out, I think you're showing a case that, states I think are really good for, but states are fundamentally about interaction. Right? Like that's kind of how we set out, when we go out and set out how to sort of tackle a new feature. We don't take that feature in isolation. We think, what's its end-to-end workflow? What's the bigger thing that it's a part of, the bigger story it's a part of? And how do we fit it into that story and not just make sure it's not this feature just hanging out there on its own. And it's part of a bigger thing a designer's trying to achieve or trying to be successful at.
Totally.
And building interactions is where states it's what's really all about.
Absolutely. And you guys made hover so easy to do and just so user-friendly. So we've got, again, we can create a new state, we can create a hover state, and what's really cool, actually let me back up for a second. You may have noticed that when I press the plus button beside the states, there's a little lightning bolt. And that's going to indicate that that's going to be wired up automatically.
No need to go into prototype mode.
Exactly. So, I've got the hover state. I'm going to jump in.
That came directly from user testing.
Really?
Yes. So, I know all my UX design friends out there, if you do user testing, whether it's usability, early prototypes or builds, we had a prototype from about a year ago where we had an early build of states going. And we've been developing states for a little while. And one of the things that people felt was that it was too manual. That to get to the hover state, we had a little task that we give them with the build, and getting that hover state there was a lot of overhead. Well, first off, just making components sort of speaks to like why the component now button is actually in the panel when you have a selection, but also like hover, having a quick way to kind of do the thing that you want to do with a button or with many UI components, just having it right there, and then when you click on it, it just sets it up for you. Now you automatically have that hover interaction set up between the two states, and you can go on and continue working, and it's very seamless in your workflow. That feedback came directly out of user testing.
Yeah, things like that, wiring up a hover state, you really shouldn't have to think about.
No.
And those extra steps, especially if you're working with many hover states, are just not necessary.
Yeah.
So I've got the hover state active right now. I might just want to brighten up the button a touch. Maybe I'll dive in here, move this up a few pixels, move this down a few pixels. And from the default state, all I have to do now is, look at that. Look at that.
And it auto-animates between those two states.
It just does it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's magical.
It is magical.
You know, the other inspiration for that, it's kind of a dirty word in many web circles.
Oh.
But the other inspiration point for hover and for states in general was actually Flash.
Oh gosh. Flash.
But
actually, did people? I hear all the time. All these other applications have hover.
Yes.
Why doesn't XD have hover? But states.
Yeah.
Flash had states way back in the day. Way back in the day.
You know what else has states? InDesign has states.
Did you know that?
Did you all know that? I have a funny slide I'll share later on Twitter. I actually designed something for the early demo assets of CS5 when they added states to InDesign. Fascinating, but I digress. But there was something about what Flash was able to do in onboarding you to kind of creating and doing the thing that you want to be doing over and over and over again, and just like making that path to being successful like that much easier, right? And you say, this is a button. Call it a button. What are the properties of a button? Well, we know what the properties of a button are. And that was just built into how Flash worked, and that was a real inspiration point for how we sort of started to conceptualize and fit states into these bigger workflows inside of XD.
Totally. So the big question that now that hover is available, we've been hearing where's hover, when's hover coming, is why the heck did it take so long? And I think this is an important conversation to have because Auto Animate was introduced last year, right?
Yeah.
Which is great. It allowed artboard to artboard transitions with animations. Fantastic.
It's almost like visual keyframes. Almost like visual states.
Exactly. But the problem with that is that when you really start prototyping and building out your experiences, things are going to get a little bit out of control. And let me show you why, right? We've got this screen here, a home page for a music app. And I might want a user, as I'm building this out, to interact with various elements of this homepage. So we've got these little hearts, right? We've got these boxes, which might be hover.
These separate components, all
separate. We've got these toggle switches. You get the idea. If we were to have states, right, with Auto Animate.
Let's say we had hover
right.
before we added states.
Yeah.
If we were to sort of add hover beforehand, what was the scenario that we were looking at?
This is the scenario we were looking at. So basically, every single state or every single interaction would need a separate artboard.
Yeah, every state of that UI I wanted to show, I'd have to show on a separate artboard. That's how it was done in the past before states.
Yeah, which, I don't know about you, but if I was on the outside and I was given that as, this is hover,
I would just give up. I would just like show one, maybe two, and call it a day. Because look at the amount of work, amount of time. Again, our mantra, back from the very early days of XD, was designed at the speed of thought. Yeah. And this was, we thought about adding hover to prototyping mode as an interaction before we had states. But we knew it wasn't going to set the right expectation. It wasn't going to actually help users do anything better than they're doing today.
Yeah.
And so, again, this has been a period of us laying in the groundwork, getting all those other pieces in place to be ready for states. And it started with Auto Animate. We really made a decision. Well, are we going to go and follow the states path first, or are we going to do animation first? And we thought, well, states animation gets us on the way to states, so let's go that way. And then we had to then go and make sure components were ready for it. And again, states has been there and been with us for a while. And we knew we were going to get there, and it was just a matter of when. How do we make sure we have all the right pieces in place to make sure that when we launch states, XD's ready for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So now,
this is amazing.
We don't need it.
Crazy.
So in prototype mode, all these interactions are wired up, and they were created just like we created the button a while ago. But you can also animate between different states. So I have here this search interaction, right? Here's the default state, and all I did was I took the this is actually a rectangle, a rounded rectangle.
That you sort of shrunk down.
Yeah, I expanded it. I change the little handle of the magnifying glass to the text caret. And now in prototype mode, it just does its thing. And you can just click on these things in no particular order. You can hover, all from a single artboard.
Yeah, and we really wanted to make sure that the editing of states and sort of setting them up was very direct, very intuitive, very on canvas, rather than having to do it through some other UI. That it really is kind of what you see is what you get. So as you toggle between those states and you tweak things or you change things, all right, if you have auto animate set up, it's just going to start just adding that animation, the sort of high fidelity animation quality to your UI, like instantaneously, right? So it's very direct, it's very on canvas, very it's very XD-like. I like to say it's very sort of fits with all of our sort of principles and ideals that we have.
Yeah, and just to give you before we move on to the next feature, just to give you a very quick example of some of the things you can do with states. On the basic level, you've got your buttons, right? You've got your toggle switches. You can do things like this, right? And it's all contained within a single component.
I will never get tired of watching this.
I love this kit.
This file. Did you tell everybody?
Yes,
about
it's out.
It's okay, it's out. Okay, everybody, go download this file if you haven't yet. This is truly, truly amazing. I was telling some people earlier, like Howard he understands XD at like insider intuitive level, and this is an amazing. I mean, it shows off just the power of states inside of UI workflows.
Yeah. So if anyone's asking, letsxd.com/states. You can download the kit there, or it's on Behance as well.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of examples of how hover works. There's also examples on how you can animate between two different states.
Micro interactions.
Exploding hearts.
Exploding hearts. Did you add that one?
Yeah.
Okay, he added that one since I saw this file last. That was so delightful. Do that again. Do it again.
Oh, again? Okay. And you can also combine, you can do hover and tap as well. So there's a hover state right here, and you can click on it, and it does.
Oh my gosh.
That.
Okay, so that, I mean, you're talking about one of the other big announcements, if ever anyone may miss this one. Because again, like, it's easy for states to kind of overshadow. This was an amazing release. You can now have multiple interactions wired from a single object.
Yes.
Right.
Should we talk about that for a little bit?
Let's talk about that. Let's show it off. Go show us what show it to us here.
So here, we've got this example, right? Something we've probably all done. We've created 2 artboards for drag, and maybe one day drag will be available as a state, a trigger. Maybe?
He sets the pieces are there.
Okay.
Right? I mean, we're just getting started with states.
Yeah.
So
lots to come.
Yep.
So we've got these 2 artboards. The first card is on the first artboard, second card is on the second artboard, right? We've all done this. We've gone into prototype mode, selected the object, dragged it to the second artboard, made sure that drag was the trigger, it automatically goes to auto animate. We can do the same thing going backwards. Boop, there we go. And when we play it, we can drag from one artboard to another, right?
It's like,
We've all done this before, but the problem comes when we also want to introduce additional triggers to this interaction.
I want to drag back and forth to swap between the cards, but I want to tap on the card to take me to that destination.
Exactly.
Right?
So previously, you would have to have another object kind of hidden on top of that object.
Super hacky.
Or if it was a group, you select the group
one
first,
object,
and it's just not ideal.
There were ways around it, but it wasn't great.
Of course. So, but now look at this little plus button. Isn't it cute? Little plus button. So now you can either drag this to another artboard if you want, an interaction there, or because I have a state created for this card that's expanded, I can simply click on it. And we've got this little handle here. It's hard to see. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Cute little handle, right? And that basically is for states.
Yeah.
So let me zoom back in here. There we go. So over here to the right, I can hover if I wanted to. It wouldn't work well with the drag trigger.
Yeah, with the one you've got.
So let's select tap, and I'm going to choose my expanded state.
So you had gone through and authored a state for this component ahead of time.
Yep.
So he's a wizard. He knows how he's doing.
Yep. So again, I can drag to the second artboard, drag to the first, but I can also tap.
Ah, slick.
There we go.
That's so good. I mean, again, again, handling hidden objects or like trying to choreograph and select the right objects inside of a group.
Yep.
Just to do that before it worked fine, but it was always a little flaky. It was always a little hacky, right? And so again, this just adds that extra layer of capability. Now you can really author very rich, very dynamic interactions in your UI very seamlessly.
You can.
Without having to create all this extra overhead of managing all these new objects.
And what's great about today's update is if you're a designer and you don't really understand states or don't want to bother with prototyping or whatever it might be, you can now invite somebody to work with you.
Oh.
Should we try that?
I was waiting for you to ask, Howard.
Let's do it.
Let's do this.
We couldn't do it until today.
We couldn't.
I mean, we could.
Well, we could. We've been doing this for a little while.
Yeah.
But yes, now all of you can.
Yeah. So obviously it has to be a cloud document, right? So I'm going to make sure to save this as a cloud document, just like that. It's going to do its thing. It's going to push it up to the cloud. Let's hope the magical Wi-Fi in this convention center.
Convention Wi-Fi.
I know.
It's the bane of our existence. Conference life. always goes down when you least want it to.
Always.
I was running a little workshop session in Salt Lake City one time. Park City, I should say. So again, we were a little out of the city, and like we were at this small resort hotel.
Yep.
And the Wi-Fi completely died on me, and it just wrecked my whole workshop. That was like the core of what we were going to be doing, and it was a disaster.
It's not good. I mean, there's 18,000 people on our Wi-Fi network right now.
Yes,
so,
yes. Okay,
well,
it's doing its thing, but it's everyone in there. There were some questions. Someone early on said they were asking about states and XD. Oh, if it were states, X and Y values for states. So you should be able to edit the group the same as you edit anything else in XD. You'll be able to, you basically, when you have an object selected, move it around. Specify the X and Y. Again, it's what you see is what you get as you switch between the states. And then you can if you do shift things, then you can animate between those two states. So if you shifted something over 20 pixels, and you wire up auto animate between the states, they'll shift back.
So we have a special Wi-Fi network that we're connecting to.
Oh, good.
That's separate from all the other 18,000 people.
All right.
So let's see if this works.
Let's see if Paco can help us out here.
It's possible Paco may have broken everything.
That's right. Eric now can work together. The remote teams can work together inside the same document. It's pretty amazing.
So while Paco's doing that, let's talk about a subject that we hear all the time.
Yes.
And I think it's important, just like we talked about previously with Hover, is where the heck is dark mode?
Dark mode. This is a perennial topic. Everybody really loves the dark mode. I get it. I understand. I did design XD deliberately in light mode, you should say, back in the day, because it was different than Photoshop. It was new, it was fresh, right? So we deliberately designed it that way. So dark mode at the moment is very challenging, and there are a lot of technical reasons I can get into that basically just say it would take a lot of time and energy.
Yeah.
And that time and energy we think we'd rather spend on features like states.
I agree. And it seems like, even though we see it a lot, it seems like users agree. I've done several polls on Twitter. Would you like states and hover or dark mode? And it's easily 70% states and hover. Would you like co-editing? Would you like choreography maybe in the future? Would you like those, or do you want dark mode? And I think the majority of people want features that are actually going to benefit them.
When it comes down to it, that's the challenge. We do this thing sometimes, and day to day on the team, we have to decide. We have this list of features, and we're always having new requests come in. And we're always trying to use our research and our customer meetings and our knowledge of the design industry and kind of where it's going. We try and bring all those things together to kind of figure out, okay, what's going to have the most impact. And when should we go and release it, right? And so we have this list, and we really try to make sense of it using, again, kind of all those tools. And one thing we do sometimes when we go out to meet with customers, we do what user researchers or just product teams in general call the $100 test, which is okay, if you were in our shoes and you had these resources, for us it's our designers and our engineers and our researchers and our product managers. And we have these are resources, and the time is also our resource. So if we have all these pieces, where are we going to go and spend our time? And we have to make really hard choices. And dark mode it would be great. If
I would love
do
dark
it, and we
mode,
could do it easily. We would totally do it.
Right.
But when it takes away from work around states, if I were to choose a designer on my team to go work on dark mode, they would not be working on all the other cool things that they're working on. You know, like that are coming in the coming months. And so it's a really hard choice. Again, we build XD with everybody's feedback in mind. So we definitely take it seriously. So all you dark mode fans, we definitely hear you. Take it seriously. We're gonna figure it out.
One day we'll get there. So my Wi-Fi network has completely gone down now. It's just not even. It doesn't even exist.
It's just gone.
It's gone
now. It's gone now.
It's gone.
That's all right. What else can we talk about? We can talk about
what else? Oh, you know, we have a new plugins panel.
Let's talk about the plugins.
The plugins panel has been there for a while, but we now have this love. Oh no, we don't, because my Wi-Fi network doesn't work anymore. Oh, no. So we can't, of course, browse plugins. That makes sense. Let's hop over to the Talin screen.
Let's see how he's got some cool stuff. Let's see what we have here. Everything's broken. And try this out. Let me see if I have an update. Okay, so I'm online.
Nice.
That's good.
Okay. That makes one of us.
That's good. Let's go. I'm gonna open this file because this is some demo assets from last year. So I'm gonna open this up just so we can sort of take a look. Because I want to show everybody kind of a couple things. One being kind of the new share experience.
Yep.
So now, in the past when you were in XD, of course, we started out XD knowing that we wanted people to be able to design, and to prototype, and then to share their work, because getting that feedback is integral to making your design better.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's a core pillar of the workflow of XD, even from the earliest days.
Yep.
And I guess that we maybe undersold it a little bit, and stuck it in behind an icon on the right-hand side. And if you're a mobile user, that icon makes a ton of sense, but a lot of people didn't really find it. They didn't really know where it is. They don't really know how to utilize it as part of their workflow, inside of XD on the desktop. So we've now moved sharing front and center. There's a brand new mode, everyone. Big momentous moment.
Which Andrew teased a while ago.
He did.
And we had some interesting guesses on what that mode could be.
What that mode be. That's right. And actually, a little Easter egg, Sam, who former intern, now part of the team, we snuck into our little UI kit that we shared with everybody.
That's right.
Our XD team UI kit. There was a third tab. So now we can finally reveal that third tab is share. So again, the core workflow of XD, design, prototype, share, now all available right there front and center. And this is something actually I believe a lot in UI. I really believe that UI has the ability to tell you a story, to be instructional, give you those signposts along the way. If I've never done this before, if I don't know what kind of a prototyping workflow is like or what that means, like this gives me clear signals. I design something, I prototype something, and then I share it. And so now when I go to share mode, what I can do, and actually I don't have any of these screens wired up, I'm just realizing, is I can go, oh, they are wired up. Why aren't they showing up? Oh, they're coming into, not out of. So again, I'm sorry, I'm just sort of pulling up a quick file here. So what I can do now is I can go over into share mode, and now in share mode, I can actually see all the screens that are wired up, the screens that I'm going to be sharing at the link.
So at the moment, we're working with wired up screens, right? Is there a moment in the future that maybe we can share non-wired up screens? Is that something?
Yes, indeed it is. This is kind of like with everything in XD, we're releasing monthly releases, and we kind of believe in iterative design inside of the product. Yeah. And this is kind of like phase one. And in the future, you could imagine this being a much more interactive mode where I can see very clearly like what screens I'm going to be sharing, and that was some feedback we got from users. So, originally we said, okay, every screen that is wired together is part of a prototype, which means that those are the screens that you intend to share. But actually, that can be very confusing, particularly when you have a lot of screens and you don't really know. It's hard to understand what am I going to share. So now in share mode, I can see exactly the screens I'm going to share. So everything that has been wired together in prototype mode is highlighted here now on canvas. Everything else is dimmed back. All right, and in the future, maybe I'll be able to actually click on and add other screens to the set that I plan on sharing. And then maybe in the future, I may be able to share different sets of screens as well, possibly.
Interesting.
Something we're looking at.
That could be fun.
So again, share mode now, this is kind of step one. And the other thing I think is really powerful about this, so if I go, and let me see if I can find something that maybe doesn't give away too much. I can see maybe previously shared links. So this is a screen from, no, that doesn't sound pre-shared links. Let me see what I had. I got a lot of stuff in here.
My Wi-Fi came back on, but it's not
ready.
Still not working.
We'll do this real quick with a smaller file.
So, I know why it didn't work. Well, it says it now. My storage is full. I've published way too much on my Creative Cloud account.
Way too much. Okay.
My bad.
So what I'll do is today, just like you can do, I'm going to create a link, from this prototype, and it's going to do. Looks like my Wi-Fi is hanging in there. So one thing you can't do today is once you've shared a prototype.
Yep.
As long as you haven't created a new link, you can continue to update that prototype link. But if you need to create a new link, and then you wanted to go back and update a previously shared link from that same document, you just couldn't do it.
Right.
You basically that prototype was now kind of out there. You could go delete it, but you couldn't go and kind of republish to an older URL that you had published, right? So now in share mode, of course, and Wi-Fi at conferences.
I know, isn't it lovely?
I thought these were the simplest screens I had to share.
So while that's sharing, let's hop back to my screen.
Yes, let's go back over.
We might be getting somewhere. So I've got the co-editing section open, right?
Okay.
You've got me over here. Don't email me asking when dark mode's coming. I will not respond to it. Email Talin, though.
To email Talin, sure.
But we now have this button at the bottom.
I'm hearing from you all, so yeah.
Enable co-editing. It's hopefully this simple.
On.
We press this on, and we can now start inviting members of our team to join our document. Again, as long as the Wi-Fi network is cooperating. There we go.
There we go.
What is your email address? Which one's connected there?
TWADSWOR.
SWOR
at adobe.com.
That's a confusing one.
It's internal systems. I don't. Who knows? Who knows?
We'll run with that.
It's
so
super
the
weird.
invite has been sent.
Okay.
So now Talin's going to be able to go into his shared documents, and when that refreshes, he'll be able to, hop in there and actually join the document alongside me, alongside anyone else who might be present.
Double check that email address.
Oh, did I spell the email wrong? Possibly.
No, that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Wi-Fi issues.
Wi-Fi issues, everyone.
Yeah.
But while they're here, I can actually show you now that I've created a link. And if I want to, again, if I go back and I want to create a new link, so say up here, I'm going to say create a new link.
Yep.
So now I have a previously shared link. Maybe I make some changes. I'm going to share a different link. We'll let that go, do its thing. Let me go pop back over here, go into shared with you.
Nope, hasn't come through.
Nope, hasn't come through.
Wait, it's oh, never mind. Okay.
No, it's doing.
Good old Wi-Fi.
Oh, well.
Yeah, you can even tell just by the share experience.
Just the share experience.
This is not a big file, so the Wi-Fi network is super slow.
So here we go. So now we've shared two links, right?
Yep.
In the past, that first link, it's gone. I can't update it anymore. But now I can go to this drop down and I actually can select between the different links that I've shared.
Look at that.
And I can switch back to the first link and I can make a change and I can update that. And then I can make another change and go and update the second link. Maybe I'm sharing this with two different groups of people, right? I'm managing two links. Now you can do that all within share mode. I think it's a huge update just from a kind of pure sort of like quality of life usability around sharing.
Totally.
Discoverability as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little understated. It's a big shift, and just a few of the early pieces are in there. But I'm really excited about this particular feature. It's not flashy. It's solid.
Just there, it helps, especially those different options, right?
Yeah.
That allow a user, because there were options before that you had to check on, check off, check on, check off. But a lot of people didn't know what the best option for them
combination
was.
Here.
And if they do want to really customize it, they can do that. They can choose custom.
I can share one link for my design peeps to go and give me feedback. I can share one link for development. I can manage those side by side, and they will never meet. Those two audiences will never meet together.
Yep.
Even though I believe that they should. But
Bina just sums it up. We can now create multiple links in the same document. It's blessed by the XD team.
It's amazing. Look, Albina, thank you. I love someone else who's also into the sharing. I'm a huge fan of it, and it was part of how we originally thought about XD. The way that you get better as a designer, you make your design better is through feedback. That's the only way it gets better.
Totally.
So let's see if
one more check.
One more check.
Quit and open up.
Let's
again.
do it.
Why not? Right?
One more time. Make sure I open up the right build of XD.
Not any top secret builds with magical features in them.
There's a couple. one that's really going to blow your mind.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Have I seen this one yet?
No, you haven't.
Oh.
It's brand new.
Oh boy. All right, later. We're having a...
My partner in crime, Anirudh, and I got a lot of time to work
Anirudh's
together.
a good smart guy.
He and I started XD together with Andrew and NJ, the other engineers. So, and now we're spinning.
We are spinning.
Let's go back to Howard.
This is Wi-Fi hell, right?
Let's go back to Howard's beautiful file.
So
and if anyone else has any questions for us, let us know. We'll definitely answer some questions. So if you want to know some more about maybe some things we're thinking about for the new year, we could probably share a few things.
Yeah, throw those questions in there. Let's swap over to my screen for a second, and we'll kind of go over some more goodness with states, because who doesn't like states?
Who doesn't
like
states?
Let's go ahead and just kind of look at some of these examples.
Yeah.
Again, these would need multiple artworks before today.
To show the full experience.
Yep.
Yep.
So I've got, the default state, the pop-out state, and now...
What? Those are states? Oh,
those are states.
See, Howard's a wizard, everyone. This is amazing.
And that's
so nice.
The cool thing about one of the components updates that came out a while ago is you're not restricted by the bounds of the original component. You can just
expand in. You can change the layout. You can change the structure of the component, like that. The foundation.
Yep.
And if there's one thing that stays the same, it's synced up.
Absolutely.
Right? And of course now we can talk about. We won't be able to show this today also. But now, if you were to share this with me as maybe as a component kit, as a kind of core foundational UI kit, maybe you're going to work it up into a design system. All of those states and all that interaction, all that motion is going to carry with that component anywhere it's shared in this document or shared in my document, say if I was linked to it. And that's the real power of this, right? And that's again why we wanted to make sure that Hover came along with states, because Hover is fundamentally just baked into that component, right? So today, if you want to share, you're sharing multiple things. Now it's one thing. It goes out there, and again, it helps you build in a very systematic way.
Yeah.
So
super cool stuff. So that's going to wrap it up for us.
That was way too short.
I know. We'll have to maybe at some point we'll do another stream showing off some. I'll be in San Francisco next week hosting Adobe Live, and we'll be covering a lot of the new features. So stick around for that. More streams coming up in just a few minutes.
Always great to be back. It's great seeing all those familiar avatars pop up. It's great to chat with all of you. I'm going to try and be back streaming at some point in the future. So stay tuned on that.
Sweet.
And we'll do this again.
Alrighty.
All right, man.
See ya.
See y'all.